I think there should be a truth in lending statement that goes with that. The truth in lending statement should be you're going to face a stack of regulations just from the city that are this tall, okay? And I personally met with Tony O'Rourke, and I said, how do you feel about torching 75% of those? And he said, if I could uniformly enforce the rest, I'd be all for it. So young homeowners, yes, we want to help them every way we can, but it goes beyond giving them the money to buy the house. We've got to look at what we're going to be torturing them with, what we're going to be putting them through, and this is what we have to do with this huge stack of regulations that we need to torch and get rid of.
The answer is yes. In fact, I was on the council when we instituted the first-time homeowner, and it isn't that high, it's that high. And it's a very important program for this community. I think there's some great opportunities right now with housing costs that are down to reinstitute that program. As you know also, in redevelopment, there's a 20% set aside that goes into affordable housing in the community. And we've built a lot of affordable housing units here in this community in the last 10 years. I'm very proud of it, have been part of that. Thank you.
I'm very much in favor of that program, and I helped establish it. I'm in favor of expanding the program. It has already been expanded to moderate homebuyer programs. I would also like to explore avenues to help homeowners facing foreclosure. If we allow that young homeowners or any homeowners go into foreclosure, all it does is hurt the home values in Lake Tahoe. And the grant funding, unfortunately, has not been there. Everybody around the country is feeling the crunch. And hopefully we will continue to go for those grant fundings every year that we can. Thank you.
There are in fact two programs. One is a program that comes from state and federal funding. That program gives $150,000 to first-time homebuyers with an income under $55,000 a year. That is driven by state and federal funding. It is something that the city really has no control over. There is a second program, which is basically a workforce housing program. That program is one that comes from the 20% redevelopment tax that Tom was talking about. And basically what it is that if you are making $80,000 or more, or $80,000 a year or under, you are eligible for $100,000. Now, the problem is, if there's no revenue coming in, it's awfully darn difficult to actually fund a program. Now, the question, can we make that happen? On a state and federal level, not unless we get the grant money. On a local level, it's certainly something that needs to be considered with all our other obligations.
Yes, I believe that Claire is correct on many levels, and so is Steve, in that the regulations to qualify for some of this funding puts it out of reach for many of the people that it's trying to help. So we need to look at that, and we need to look at affordable housing in many realms, not just the first-time home buyer program, but affordable rental units, so that our workers, the people that make this town run, can afford a place to live, can have transportation to and from work. So this is just one point of a multi-pronged issue, and it needs to be looked at as that, as the entire issue, because many people who make $50,000 or $80,000 a year can buy a home with the federal tax credit as it is. So we're not touching those people that make less than that, and those are the people that really need help in our community.
I'd like to focus on an aspect that hasn't been discussed, which is not that is this good, is this bad, is this something we can manage. It's talking about how we approach as council members the prioritization of how we use SCAM dollars in our budget. And one of the issues that I relate to, having come from the school district and school board, where I see young families, folks are coming back. Our prices have come down. We're starting to see the market stabilize at a point where it is becoming affordable. And to me, this speaks to an important point of creating the next generation of Tahoe residents. Frankly, as I look across you, a lot of you are my peers. We're raising our kids, we're finishing raising our kids. I think this can represent an important opportunity to develop the next generation that will start investing in their homes, taking pride, starting the new businesses that Liz likes to talk about and represent. So that's how I would like you to think about this issue in a way, is how we frame the discussion in the broader context of managing a city budget and incentives to develop affordable housing in our community.
I support the assistant fire plan for South Lake Tahoe. As a council member, I would like to focus on ways we can start getting that program back in effect. If redevelopment isn't generating the money we need, then we need to provide a program that is going to generate the monies we need, because now is the time to be buying these homes. When the property values are what they are and they're reasonable, you're not going to get upside down in your mortgages. We really need to start getting this program going right away. I feel that creating revenue base that will support these programs is the most important thing. And I think we need to find where it's working and allocate those funds instead of focusing on redevelopment, because those funds aren't being generated and the program's not in full effect. Thank you.
Jason Collins here, thank you. So although the health and wellness sector only contributes about 10% of gross revenue to the Tahoe Basin, it provides over 60% of living wage jobs. So what will you do as a council member to foster the growth of this vital sector? Well, will you the whole thing or just the last one? Okay. So the health and wellness sector contributes about 10% of the gross revenue to the Lake Tahoe Basin, but it also provides 60% of the living wage jobs. So what will you do as a council member to help foster the growth of this vital sector?
I like me first. 60% is a huge number. You know, that's something that I didn't expect to hear. So that's a huge number. For 60% of the jobs in our community, the way to foster that is by growing the population and keeping people coming to Tahoe instead of leaving. I really want to expand the higher education options at the community college so that we can have long-term students here that can go to the highest level with their education and get a career out of college within our community. I think by doing that, then we'll bring business, we'll bring more people, we'll bring everything, and we'll bring an educated level resident to our community. And by doing that, we'll need more doctors, we'll need more lawyers, we'll need more everything, because we'll have more people for them to serve.
Wellness and healthcare is one of the most opportune moments that we can bring into this community for changing us in the near future as we look at it. It's been discussed in the prosperity plan and identified as a huge economic driver. Here's how it happens. First, we look at becoming a center for excellence. We've already got the edge on it with the orthopedic care that we have, the initiative BART is taking. Moreover, we're layering that in to the community college, into the high school. We are training the workforce of the future, and they are here, and they are part of this community. With that center, that kind of excellence, you will draw people who want to come in for that specific care. Even in these days, people follow the best healthcare opportunities possible. Secondly, when you're drawing that kind of community in, you create opportunities for people for extended care and respite. So they're staying in our spas. They're working with all sorts of therapies. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us.
We're very fortunate in this community to have a hospital such as Barton and the health system that we do for the size of community that we are. You know, many of our residents, older residents, people retiring, and tourists alike, depend on that access to health care. Now, that access isn't going to be there if we continue to do what we do with our shopping, and that is shop off the hill. So, you know, I encourage everyone to really consider next time when they decide to have that voluntary procedure done off the hill, what they're doing to our local healthcare system, because you need it there when you have an emergency, so you need to support it when it's not an emergency. So I'm very much in support of our local hospital. I think we're very fortunate as a community to have this hospital and to have the doctors that we do in this town. And again, like Anthony said, encouraging more options as far as the healthcare, like the orthopedic center, ways to draw in more discretionary healthcare is going to be the way to bolster that funding.
I think when you start thinking of healthcare, if you narrow it down to what we traditionally think is healthcare, you've also narrowed a window of opportunity. We have many, many branches of various types of healthcare, alternative healthcare, Barton, all kinds of things. What I would really like to see is that we start visioning this in the bigger picture, not just looking at it, okay, do we drive business here or do we drive business there? We, in fact, can become a first-class orthopedic operation here. We also can become a first-class alternative care operation here. But here's what we have done right. There are employers like Harris that are starting to create wellness clinics within their organization. The high school now has programs that are starting to train young people to look at healthcare and dental professions. I would like to see maybe getting some sort of a program at Lake Tahoe Community College that looks at nursing or LPN. I think it's here, I think it's possible, I just think it takes a little visioning. Thank you.
I think that the prosperity plan with their tri-tip focus was including the health and wellness. So I think it's exceptional in Lake Tahoe for the small community that we have. The orthopedics are the most well-known because we're a ski town. What I'm concerned about is I do go locally to a doctor. Many of my specialists have moved off the hill. And it's not because I'm not supporting them. It's because there's not enough support in the community to allow them to have their business here. I think that we are all pretty much baby boomers. And the healthcare is extremely important in our city. And I would support whatever measures in that area.
The healthcare industry is extremely important in the community. I was here with Dr. Stedman, remember Dick Stedman years ago, had a clinic here. And he actually brought people all over from Europe to teach him his procedure down at the old Sahara Tahoe. He left to Aspen, threw him away, and built him a clinic for free. So we've got to look at some other aspects of the healthcare industry here. However, as we all know, healthcare's got very competitive. You've got Carson Regional Hospital, you've got Renown and St. Mary's. They're all competing for our dollars. In fact, at one time, one of the largest advertisers in the Tribune was Barton Hospital. I don't know if it still is, but it's extremely competitive amongst the hospitals. They've got a tremendous amount of overhead, but we got the best place in the world called Lake Tahoe. And I think that's what attraction we need to bring some of these doctors back with specialties here to get people to come up to Carson City here in Reno and get their treatment. Thank you.
Sorry. Steve Cubby, my website is www.cubby4 Council. I just had surgery, inguinal hernia surgery at the Barton Hospital, and I was completely recovered in a month, and I thought they did a fabulous job. In fact, I wish that the city council ran the office as efficiently as they do at Barton. And the best thing that I could wish for those folks is that the city would stay the hell out of their lives. I do know that the doctors are being levied licensing fees that they consider exorbitant and difficult to deal with.